What is going on, your Giant fans? Welcome back to another Roster Bubble Series video. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Comment and subscribe to our post notifications so you know when a live stream pops through or drops. Appreciate y'all coming back. Share this out. Do all the good stuff. Episode 3 of the Roster Bubble Series. We're doing Darnay Holmes for this one. But if you guys don't know what happens in these videos, I take a player that's on the roster bubble who may or may not get cut, talk about them, their overview, their stats, all that sort of good stuff. Then I go into their competition, how they could win, how they could lose a spot on the roster, and a prediction at the end. So, let's get to Darnay Holmes. One of the more controversial figures in the Giants fan base on the defensive side of the ball. So, Darnay Holmes was drafted out of UCLA in 2020 by the Gettleman Judge regime, and he was projected to fit what was going to be the zone system of Patrick Graham and all that sort of good stuff. And he had a solid 2 rookie years, didn't give up a touchdown, which was remarkable in that case, right? You know, slot corners don't allow a lot of touchdowns, or at least they're not supposed to. They allowed a lot of yardage in this, that, and the third. The only flaw that came with Darnay Holmes is sometimes you'd have the nagging penalties. That really got exposed in 2022 when he was playing the slot corner position. They did draft Cordell Flott, whether it was for the outside or the slot, but Flott was a man fit for Don Martindale's scheme to where Darnay Holmes wasn't. Darnay Holmes was his own fit. And we saw in that first game against the Tennessee Titans, on that last drive, holding defense number 35 yards, first down. And a lot of Giant fans were pretty pissed off at that point. And Darnay Holmes, for most of the season, remained in the slot. And Giant fans were very interested to see what was going to go on with that slot corner position the following year. But Darnay Holmes in 2022, 61.2 completion percentage allowed, total of 2 starts, no interceptions, 1 touchdown allowed, 85.1 passer rating, 38 tackles. So, again, got most of the play time in the slot compared to Cordell Flott because they stretched him outside. They stretched him out in the slot, but he played 59% of the snaps, meaning Darnay Holmes. Now, 2023 was a bit of an off year for Darnay Holmes in terms of playing time. Didn't get that much because of the emergence of Cordell Flott in the slot. Then they moved certain guys around. It was a little weird because the projection was Adoree in the slot, Trey Hawkins, and Banks on the outside. Then Hawkins started getting cooked. Then they maneuvered Cordell Flott in there. And there was multiple changes in the DB room, right? You know, who's getting injured, who's doing this, who's playing well, this, that, and the third, right? So Darnay Holmes played 16 games, but most of his snap percentage was put on specials, 45% and 12% on defense. 123 snaps, the lowest of his career. As you can see, he was not a fit. He did get 2 interceptions, though. I don't remember where the other interception came from. I think that was against Washington. The other one came from Dallas, I believe. But nonetheless, 75% completion percentage allowed, 64.6 passer rating, 18 total tackles. So not terrible. But one thing you could say that got better with Darnay Holmes in the Don Martindale scheme was a little bit of a better tackler. And also he played the run a little bit better. That's what they tweaked with him, which from the slot, you have to play the run really well, whether it's a zone system or a man system, whatever. But what is his competition going to look like? You got Nick McLeod, who's a solid outside and slot corner, could also play safety. Got Aaron Robinson, who hasn't touched the field in a long time. Stanley Thomas Oliver came from the Panthers. Caleb Hayes, who I believe came from the Packers. Alex Johnson, UDFA, out of UCLA. And Cordell Flott. Now, mind you, not all of these guys are going to make the roster. Some of them are locks to make the roster. And you can even throw a guy like Andrew Phillips in there because Phillips was drafted for the slot, which is pretty interesting to me, but I'm not going to continue arguing the point of we should have drafted an outside corner. I digress. But Flott is definitely going to be in competition for the slot. Aaron Robinson, Andrew Phillips, McLeod, and then you got all of these different guys competing for outside or in the slot or just generally on the back burner. In my opinion, you look at this competition, you look at all these different things, and To me, Darnay Holmes actually has a leg up. Why does he have a leg up? Because number one, he is a zone fit. That is what Shane Bowen runs. Now, he could tweak his scheme and say, we're going to go to a man system, but I truly believe this is a zone system that he wants to run, a little bit more of a bend but don't break approach with better personnel. Cordell Flott, not a zone fit. Doesn't understand the man concept, zone concepts, excuse me. Aaron Robinson, as far as he goes, he could fit both, realistically, but he's been injured way too many times. Nick McLeod, he could fit either or, but again, new guy, new system. I don't get the same vibes, me personally. And then you got Andrew Phillips, who has a ton of tackling issues. Some issues in coverage, not too bad, but is he going to be ready to play slot week 1 against the Minnesota Vikings? I highly doubt that. But how can he win? New kick return rule and special teams. I think this is going to play a pivotal role, not as much as playing slot corner, but I think it's going to be pivotal because, number one, new kick return rule. If anyone doesn't know, the opposing special teams cannot touch the other side of special teams until the kick returner gets the ball. Now, Darnay Holmes could be on both sides of this. He could be the returner, which he has been tested in the past, or he could be one of those guys that's going to slip through, the gunner. And he could do that on punts too. I know he played a lot of special teams last year, as we mentioned. So he could force a fumble, this, that, and the third, whatever, on special teams. Just make an impact because, again, this is a new system with Michael Gabriel coming over from the Jets. Tackles well versus the run. The Giants need run stoppers. They haven't stopped the run well in a long time. Whether it's a DT issue, a linebacker issue, an edge issue, whatever the hell. They need as much support versus the run as possible. And Darnay Holmes, he's very good versus the run. A lot of people don't want to admit it, but he's very good versus the run. Less penalties. Again, in Bowen's system, zone fit, I'd like to think that he's going to hold a little bit less. And again, acclimates well to Shane Bowen's system. Now, how can he lose? Failed opportunity with the kick return rule. Again, I don't think that's going to be a huge factor. But if some of these DBs in the room start playing better than him on defense, then you're going to need that special teams as an up. No special teams impact. Again, we talked about that. Doesn't get opportunities versus the run or misses tackles, more penalties, not great in coverage. You don't want that. But Darnay Holmes really has been bad in the preseason, to my knowledge. I think training camp is going to be one of the biggest tests for Darnay Holmes because not only are you facing your own squad with some solid slot receivers, you're also facing the Jets. You're facing the Lions in joint practices. You might be facing another team as well, but I'm pretty sure they're facing the Jets and the Lions in joint practices, which is going to be very, very much interesting at that. So again, how can he win? New kick return rule, special teams acclimates well to Bowen's system, tackles well versus the run, less penalties. How can he lose? Failed opportunity with kick return rule, no more penalties, no special teams impact, doesn't get opportunity versus the run. So I think Darnay Holmes makes the roster, and better yet, I think he starts week 1 against the Minnesota Vikings. I think it's possibly a thing of Flott on the outside, or maybe even David Long Jr. He's another guy you got to throw in there. Could be David Long Jr. on the outside. Could be, Deonte Banks on the other side. Not Flott in the slot. Holmes in the slot. I think Holmes starts week 1, and I think they try to phase him out a little bit and then just put him more on special teams as they go because, hey, Andrew Phillips, you kind of wanted him in the mix. You want to get his feet wet. But like, comment, subscribe, folks. Do all the good stuff. Turn on post notifications so you know when the live stream pops through your drops. Appreciate you coming back. Peace out, guys. See you later. Stay cool.